Hi knitters, welcome to PJKnits. My name's Penny. I live in Central Illinois and I'm a knitter, a blogger, and a YouTube podcaster. Welcome to my knitting journal on YouTube and welcome back. Welcome to new subscribers and welcome to those who keep coming back so faithfully every time. So today is Monday, May 6th. And in Central Illinois, we've had a couple of really nice 3 or 4 sunny days, and then at night maybe it goes rainy, or that we get a lot of rain, and then it's just been one of those funky little spring stretch of days. The front porch is all set for knitting, and I went and got flowers. I am not a gardener. I don't know, I can tell a daisy. But I always look to my friends to give me advice on plants and that. And luckily, where I went this weekend, Friday rather, I got some plants that were already potted, and I checked them out, see if they're good for sun, because they get a lot of sun on my front porch. But if you follow me on Instagram, I am PJKnits, and so you can see what the porch looks like. And yes, for me, it is at my happy place, starting right now and going all the way until it gets too cold. I get up early in the morning and try to get out, but I haven't so much yet. For some reason, I've been doing a little vacillating in the house and sleeping and just putzing around. So soon when the weather, kind of levels off, I'll get back out and be doing that again. But anyway, as far as the weather's concerned, coming up the next few days, it's going to be cloudy here in Illinois. We're going to have some 80 degrees, and then it's going to get a little sunshiny later in the week, with 60s and very low 70s. So it's Illinois, and that's just the way our weather is. So that's kind of a roundup of the weather here. Next Sunday is Mother's Day, and here is a picture of my mom, who has long since passed away. Oh my gosh. I had to think. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Like longer than 10, 12 years maybe. So anyway, just shout out to all the mothers and people who are stand-in mothers. Happy Mother's Day on Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope it's sunshiny out. I've got a plan to maybe go somewhere, and so I hope that you're having, you out there who are mothers and stand-in mothers, have a great day. So let's get started on the knitting, because that's what it's all about. And hopefully new subscribers and returning subscribers, thank you so much again for coming and indulging me in my little knitting journey. And for those who come out on Zoom on Saturday night, we have a nice little lively group where we're always talking about everything, knitting and the world and just things in general. And I'm learning so much, creating lists of things to watch and things to read and things to knit. So we have a great group on Saturday nights, and I'm thankful for all of those ladies who come back each time. So let's go for the knitting. I want to talk about just a couple of 2023 finished object. I had mentioned earlier in the year in January that I wasn't going to just pile up all my knits that I did in 2023, but I thought maybe I would bring them back periodically in the month that I finished them, in 2023, and just give a little, just refresh your memory and just talk about them again, and then kind of remind myself of what I knit on in 2023. And this particular one is the Ranunculus, and this is my Ranunculus number 3. It's my 3rd one that I've knit, and there's been some discussion here and there on Instagram. Knit Granny, she was talking about a yarn that she was going to use for hers and wasn't sure if the variegated yarn was too much for it, if you would see the lace. And this is the one that I was talking about that I had knit it. And this was just, the yarn was just a 2-tone yarn that I had purchased in March 2018 in Sarasota at a Good Yarn when I was down there visiting friends. And this particular one was just a 2-tone cotton that I used for it. It was Cascade Ultra Pima Fine Peruvian Tones. So it was a tonal kind of, but it had this swatches of teal throughout it in the deep ocean colorway. And it technically was classified as sport. Now, when I did all of my ranunculi, I guess, each one that I knit, I used the original pattern with. First one was one with mohair and a fingering weight that I did many years back. And I knit it with long sleeves. I made adjustments according to my gauge and the pattern. So I used that first one. The second one was out of a kind of a boucle yarn that I donated because I just really didn't like it. I had issues with not helical knitting, and so I donated that to a pile, the rag pile actually. So it's gone, and then this was number 3 that I did last year. And it took me about a month to do it. Finished it in April. I was going for the 48-inch finished measurement, and I did not gauge swatch on this. I just jumped in on a size 8 needle is what I did. And it's like, I knew that it was going to be large enough when I was done to go over, and that's really what I wanted. I extended the sleeves because I did not, let's go this way. I extended the sleeves on my pattern because I did, again, we've talked about this before, I wanted to cover this part of my arm, what I lovingly call my pelican arms. But I wanted to extend that over at least to almost the elbow, so that I did that as well. And it only took about 2 skeins and 85 yards of my 3rd skein, and there was 273 yards per skein. So if you do the math, you know, it was about 550, 6.25 yards of that yarn, of the Ultra Pima in deep ocean. And I always pick up extra sleeves underneath my arm to cover the gaps. Some people just do a couple of, 2 or 3 stitches. But again, because I need to accommodate for the largeness of underneath my arm, I pick up as many as possible. And on this particular one, my notes in my journal says that I did 14 extra stitches under each arm. And I'm perfectly comfortable with that. I worked it in stockinette for 4 7/8 inches, got kind of tired of it, and I was near the elbow. And then I did the rib for 1 inch. So again, it took me just a little bit more than a month, a little bit less than a month to do it, and I really like it. I like these over tank dresses in the summertime. That's my intent, to wear it. And as I originally, at the very start of when I was telling you about this is what I was talking about. The only real part of the lace that you see is this 4 here. So I have started putting pictures too in my journal. So I put it in my 2023 journal, and here we are. I'm putting a little picture and doing a little decorating up of that. So you can see that really you don't see the lace really from afar, that well, you know that there's some texture in that, but the only thing that really shows up is the larger holes. You don't really even see it throughout there. But that is a finished object from 2023, and perfect timing for summer and summer wearing. I just got a couple of new dresses from QVC. They were Susan Graver ones, and they're as long as I want them to be. So I'm looking forward to testing this sweater out over that when it gets seriously warm outside. So I wanted to share that with you, and that is one of last year's finished objects that I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this year. I've got quite a few things to talk about here in Knitwise, so please grab a cuppa. Today it's caramel macchiato still, and I've got no cream in it today. I'm trying to be better, to be healthier, and not do creamer all day long, so which I'm perfectly fine with. I used to be a black coffee girl until I learned about caramel macchiatos at Starbucks. And then it was like, oh my gosh. So grab your cup, grab your knitting, and let's continue on. Okay, now next up, I want to talk about what I'm wearing. Oops. This is Bermy Basic 28 by Beth MacDonald Stone, and I did a test knit for her. The pattern itself should be coming out in the next week or so, and 28 stitches is the gauge, is the way that she has been putting out these patterns, and I highly recommend this one. I love this for those yarns that you bought that may be souvenir yarns, or you don't know what to do with, or you have it in your PYS that you want to pull it out and knit. This particular one I tried several times to knit with my stash, and it just wasn't working. I just couldn't find what I wanted to do. So I went to my local yarn shop, the Fiber Universe in Peoria, and these two yarns happened to be sitting next to each other on the rack, and I thought, you know, it was beshert, it was meant to be. And so I purchased them, and they are Malabrigo fingering sock. I have not used Malabrigo sock yarn before, but after knitting this sweater, I will knit more of this in sweaters because it feels good on. It was wonderful to knit with. The two colorways are Gloria and Light of Love. And I started this on March 19th and finished it on April 17th. I knit the size 40, which is the finished, size 40 finished, which is the size 2. I started with the size 3 needle at the rib, and I love the way it hugs the neck. Now for summer wearing, you may want to not do as much so that it lays down a little bit further, but my intention was to wear this as a transition sweater as long into spring and back into the fall, and I'm perfectly comfortable in it today. I've worn it a couple of times when it's been the 65, 70 degree range. So I did a cast on with a size 3 needle for the rib, and there were increases that are put throughout the top of the yoke, and in order to do these make ones on the first round, I did a method that Susan Rainey showed me a couple of years ago at knitting camp. And it's as we go around the first round, I yarned over, and as I came around the second row after that, I knit into the back, which completely took care of really pretty much the holes. And I think I really liked that particular make one increase for me, because you have to do these periodically throughout the yoke, as I said. I switched to, the body is done on a size 4 needle for the most part. And I decided I wanted to do some sort of stripes, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I originally had thought about doing the same size stripes all the way down, much like the Super Summer Simple sweater. I call it the 4S sweater by Hoagie. But I thought that, you know, I wanted to do something a little bit differently. And I remembered then the Fibonacci method that was out there and made its way out, you know, several years back as calculating. And yes, there was math in it, but I just went on, you know, Google and figured out how it was put together. And then I just had a little running list of when I needed to change the colors. So I used Fibonacci method through it. And as I was changing colors in the yoke and the body, I used the Helene Magnuson method, which is, you can find that, she's on IcelandicKnitter.com. So, and under knitting tips, she has the jogless join. And so I used her method, and I loved it. I loved it. And so check it out there. I put notes in my my journal for it so that I could remember what it was. But I used the Fibonacci method throughout, and then about after I separated with the split, I was right on my gauge, so I continued on. But what I did is, as I usually do with my sweaters, because I have this shape like this, I then switched from a 4 to a 6 needle and just kept writing. And I think it was about 55 rounds. All of my information is on my Ravelry page. And on Ravelry, my login, my picture is PJKnits1. The group name is PJKnits, and I said this before, I couldn't get the PJKnits Ravelry name, so I did PJKnits1. So 2 different things there, but if you look on my project page in Ravelry under PJKnits1, all of this information that I'm telling you about this Burmy Basic sweater can be found there. So I did 55 rounds and then switched after here. I did switch to a size 6 needle to accommodate because I wanted a little bit more larger stitches throughout the body. Finished it off. I actually went all the way down and added some length to it. I and used the after the rib, used George's elastic bind off per Beth's pattern, and that will all be on the pattern. When I got to the arms, I picked up I left it on a 6 needle because again I wanted I wanted to make sure that it wasn't too tight because it was going to be if I left it on the 4. So underneath the arm, I left it with a size 6 needle and I picked up 24 additional stitches underneath the arm because I do not want a tight arm here. I always, it's something I always do on my sweaters. So that has not changed on any of them. At 6 inches from my armhole here, I started the decreases per the pattern. You could start them up here further, but again, I wanted to maintain the width or the circumference here until I get almost just above my elbow. And then I did the decreases per pattern and left them in the color B. So when I was all done, I totally love this pattern. What did happen in the body is that I left the Fibonacci method when it got to the very end, the last piece and the rib. To do the Fibonacci method, I would have had to make it longer, and I didn't want it. It was at the perfect length for me as I wanted to. And so I'm just going to stand up and show you the full length of it. And again, there's pictures on my Ravelry project page, and I'm adding photos, finished objects, and putting them on my body this year. And I found this denim jacket that was slated to give away, to donate to a local charity, and because I never get to wear it, and I pulled this out right after it was done, and I still had my little dragonfly pin on it, and I put it over this jacket. It fit, and it looked perfect. So I'm keeping it, and I love it. It's the perfect jacket. I wore it a couple of times when it was a little bit cooler, and I will wear it again in the fall with some blue jeans. So I'm just super, super happy with this pattern. As I said, it is Burmy Basic 28. Beth has a multiple of sizes that she is doing on different gauges. I highly recommend the pattern. You can do whatever sleeve length you want. You can make accommodations to it. On mine, I did bracelet length. Again, following in the tradition of Kelly from Knits and Pieces, I want to be able to see my watch, and I really like a bracelet sleeve. I do have long sleeves come winter, but then I'm always flipping my thing back, and so I want to see what time it is, and I want to do it inconspicuously sometimes. So I love this, and then it's not getting in things as well. So that is Burmy Basic 28, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks it will be out. Beth will show hers on her podcast when she releases it. But I love this, and I love it in fingering weight, and I love the Malabrigo sock yarn. A new to me weight of their yarn that I will continue to knit as well again. So that is a couple of sweaters to talk about. I have more. So what I have been doing in the last couple of weeks is kind of a little bit of spring cleaning in my PYS and my whips and things like that. We've talked about this before. I have a lot of whips. I will never, if I do one a year, I will never live long enough to do them all. But my thought process in the last couple of weeks is that I wanted to start doing a little spring cleaning up there. And I want to try for every month and call it #3knitwhips, at least for the first 3 months, is to go through my whips and to pull one out each month and to either say fish or cut bait, which means either start knitting on that whip or rip it out, repurpose the yarn, or totally toss it if it's not going to happen, if you're not loving it. Because yes, my whips mock me, but I don't apologize for them. And so I've been having a little bit of that, along with a little wanting to see what I really had in whips. And so I made a list of those. I put them in a bin so that I can maybe just pull one out at a time of the bin, randomly, and make a decision. I had one slated for the bin, for the cut bait thing, and then it didn't go to the cut bait pile, but it sat there, and I'm like, I think I like it again. So it came back, and it's no longer cut bait. It's a fish for at some point in time, and it's a shawl. So anyway, I've started doing that. I went through that. I have all my whips in a bin that I know what they're at. I pulled some out and took the needles out and took the yarn out and either repurposed it or got rid of some of it or put it into a pile to knit for scrappy things, mainly like for a hospice blanket or one of those. So I'm doing some spring cleaning, and I'm getting my bags, my project bags, kind of like in order as well, like ones that I've had for a while, and I'm going to see if other people would like to have those. I have some that are all the same size, and I have my go-tos that I'm using right now, and so those ones that, that I've had for a while that I picked up, at festivals, or just online, I'm getting those ready to donate to some people. So anyway, as long as I was doing that, one of my 3 knit whips for April was my Musselburgh hat that I finally finished. The Musselburgh hat had this particular one. I cast on in November of 2022. I finished it at the end of April. And so a lot of you will say that's a long-term whip, but this was one of those things, was one of those projects that really wasn't mocking me. It was sitting in my front seat for a lot of time, for possibilities, for when you need a knitting project and you maybe dashed out of the house and don't have it, or sometimes things happen. People say, hey, I need you like now, and then you want a knitting project. So this rode along in the front seat for those times. A simple project to pick up and just do a few rows. It went to Florida with me in the front seat when I was coming out of Nashville. I knit on it because there was construction that I was sitting standstill. When I go over to knitting, I go over our bridge, and it's highly likely either coming or going. I'm going to encounter a train that could be 10 minutes. So I have this this Musselburgh was sitting in my seat, and I could easily just pull it, do a few rounds, and when I saw the train was coming, it could go back into the project bag. And so I want to cast on, I think, another one. And the thing is, it's done out of fingering weight yarn, and so this is a skein that comes out of PYS. And so those souvenir yarns that you may have purchased, it could be easily knit on. Now, this particular one was a Christmas present from my friend Kathy. The yarn in 2021. And so it is the Knitted Wit Sock yarn out of Watery Tart, which I love this one. And this is, again, Musselburgh by Isolde Teague. It took me a while to really get moving back on it. I initially had a little problem with the cast on. I was more frustrated with it than anything, you know, because I do double points and the world at that time was just kind of spinning out and I didn't have a whole lot of patience on it. And so it made a couple of fits and starts, but I finally got it going once again. And so I knit the whole thing, and I'm loving this. Loving my Musselburgh hat for sure. Out of Watery Tart, and my granddaughter over in Iowa, you know, I would take it. It was a good project to take over there because it was easy, you know, to pick up and put down when I was watching the kids or we were playing or just if I was sitting outside with them. So totally in love with this. And it will not be my only Musselburgh, you know, and I believe that, you know, a Musselburgh, not only, this would be a great hat to pop in my bag in the back so that should I get, you know, have a flat tire and can't get AAA out right away, it would be wonderful to just throw on my head if I was getting cold or sitting out on the porch. So this is Musselburgh. I do believe there's going to be another one cast on. I'm just trying to figure out a yarn from my PYS of what I want to knit on next, you know. I really need to knit some mittens to go with it or to get some ensembles going so that it's all together. But that is the Musselburgh hat, and I'm super, super stoked about that. And that is out of my 2022 journal, which had no, at the time I didn't put anything on it, but so that's my 2022 journal. Okay. Sorry, I keep pushing that. The thing is right there. Sorry, jiggling that for you. So, okay, so I have more bags sitting around here. Let's start with a new cast on that after I finished my Burmy Basic, I needed something to knit down at Knitting on Tuesdays and Fridays and couldn't figure out what to do. And it's in my super cute bag from Steph that she gave me last year at the mini meetup. And this is a project that is from friends. It's in my project bag from my friend Steph, and then I received the yarn from Susan. She sent it to me last year, and let us go to our journal, page 42. Give you the particulars on it. Here it is. The yarn is Hopscotch 2 sock yarn, and I am doing the Fluff by Susan Ashcroft. It's a simple scarf shawl to knit. I saw it on the Chronicles of Yarnia. It was a pattern that one of the ladies there was knitting on, and so it's just a simple pattern that I can knit on down at the shop right now. Really, it's all garter, and it goes perfectly with a shirt that I have that will be fun to wear as well. So this is kind of like one of those projects in progress that I can pick up and I take down to the shop right now until I decide until I get another something cast on that is easy and public knitting. So that's a new one, a new cast on, just kind of like a little bit of, I guess you would call it a palette cleanser too. So I am doing another test knit for Beth MacDonald's stone. This one is called Glimmerstone, and I don't have a photo to show you. This is, again, had some fits and starts as well. It's in my Button Jar Studio fleecy bag. And I finally settled on the Rowan felted tweed for it. And this has to be done the end of May, first part of June. and it's kind of, it's out of the Rowan felted tweed. I have not gotten that far yet on the yoke, but I work on it a little bit upstairs every so often. And I'm something new to me. I'm doing these totally without a cable needle. So I've been vacillating so much about this because I even last night I was wondering if you'll be able to see the texture in it. And I'm just going for broke. I think as I get more on it, you will be able to see that. The flex I thought maybe we're kind of hiding it, but I'm motoring on with it. Because I just, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go on it. So that's what I am doing. It is Glimmerview sweater by Beth MacDonald Stone. Like I said, it will probably be the end of May, 1st of June is when she said it would come out. The pattern that she's using a DK and a lace, and I'm just using a single strand of Rowan felted tweed from PYS. So I'm pretty stoked about being able to use some of my yarn that's in there. And so there'll be more progress on that as I go. I am using a size 5 needle, and I'm doing the 42-inch finished object bust. So stay tuned for more information on that. Again, this has that neck. This is going to be something I'm going to wear next winter. So maybe I will make it into the long sleeves. But if you can see that, you can see that there's some black flecks in there. There's a little rusty fleck and a little creamy flecks as well. So, stay tuned as that progresses as well. Now, next up, I want to tell you about another cast on. And this could be why my hands hurt lately. But if you follow me on Instagram, PJKnits, you'll see that I have been wanting to do Wave forever this is out of last year's number. It's number 17. Summer 2023, and I love these pink pants she's got on. And I tried really hard, guys, to get the pink pants, and the first pair that I found was not meant for this body. So I'm returning them. So, and I'm not done with it yet. So maybe by the time I get done with it, I'll have found the perfect pink pants, or I'll look better in the pink pants than I think. And if not, I'm a blue jean gal. It will go with blue jeans, right? So anyway, it is called Wave, and I bought the yarn last year because I'm becoming one of those that I have a good amount of great yarns in my PYS. But what I really want to do, there are times when a pattern comes out that you really, at least I do, I really want to knit it out of that yarn, and a lot of times I want to knit it out of that color. And that was the case of Wave. This particular one is by Thea Vesterby, and as I said, it was from the Lina magazine in the summer of 2023. I did not do a swatch on this. I knit last year. My green sweater for the mini meetup was Niagara out of the same yarn, which is the Petite Knitter yarn. And so I did not swatch, because when you start this pattern, it's back and forth, both on the upper back and the fronts. And so I'm going with the gauge that I got last time, which was the same gauge, I do believe, as this is. And so I'm not doing a gauge swatch. I am doing size 4, which is the 45-inch finish measurement, and I cast on with the size 4 Chiagu needles, just as I did on my other one. The yarn that I'm using is Double Sunday Petite Knit, and this is the orange, and not as, it is vibrant, right? And then here's the pink, and these are the exact same yarns and colorways that the sample that was done on the sample and in the front on the cover of the magazine. So I'm using those yarns, and you start, as I said, this is interesting construction, and I'm dying to cast on, but I've got a commitment with Beth, and I've got a couple other things, so I really just wanted to get it this far to show you, for one thing, but also for myself to see what it was going to look like. And I'm super stoked about this. This was a fun knit. So here is the back so far. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's just, and I want to go back to it, but you know, when you have commitments, whether they're to people or self-imposed, which is my problem, which I have a lot of those right now. But I just wanted to get this far, see what it was going to be like. So again, this is another one that is like, stay tuned, right? So that is that one to talk about. And then another one that I have on the needles that, again, that it has a particular dress that I want to wear this over, is the Daily Pullover out of Linen Quill. And when last we met, this is where I was at. And so again, this is just a little pickup project right now, when I just need to knit. And I have to go to 10.5 inches before I do the ribs. So I'm kind of anxious to get this thing done as well and put the sleeves on it and the neck and all of that. But it gets limited amount right now. But like I said, I have a tank dress that is perfect for going over this one. And I think I don't think it's going to be long sleeves, but I do think this one again is going to be 3/4 sleeves so that I can wear it not only over that dress in the summertime in the air conditioning, but I can also wear it by itself when I'm not wearing that. And this is out of a bag from Molly Klein Design of old, some years back. Very summery, and I try to kind of match some of my project bags to what's inside of it. And I think, you know, this is a summery bag and a summery sweater to go over a summery dress. So I am working on the Daily Pullover. That one has been another one that I started this year. So, you know, a little bit of a hope. It's not a whip of old, but I know that I want to definitely be knitting on it. It is by Paula Pereira from Pearl Soho. And I'm doing the size 3, which is a 41.25 inch on, and I'm doing a size 4 needle on it. On this particular one, I eliminated the short rows at the back neck for the shaping neckline. I think there was Leslie of A Friend to Knit With had done something similar, and so I'm just kind of testing that thought process of leaving that out. And I have a little bit of inspiration. This is in cobalt blue, but I have a little something, an inspo picture that I put in here because I thought this was super fun for possibilities, the color-wise and the shirt. Just kind of, you know, a thought process for the future. And I started it at the end of December. No, I'm sorry, end of January this year. So super happy with that. I love that cobalt blue, that vibrancy, and again, it's going to go over a wonderful little dress that I have, so I can get more wear out of it. Okay, reminder, and I don't know how many of you will see this, but the Hap-along continues. We are having probably about a 1-hour Zoom tonight, 6 o'clock Illinois time. All the information on the Zooms is in the PJKnits Ravelry group. It's in the header. And that particular info doesn't change depending on the Zoom we're doing. It's always the same. We're doing kind of like a little catch-up Hap-along tonight to see where everybody's at and just to talk about haps in general. I know there's a couple out there. Rosie has finished her phenomenal motor die. And then Annetta just finished hers as well. If she's a hap triangle, that I have that same pattern, and it's wonderful. She has finished that. So we're hoping that you'll come and spend some time with us on the Hap-along. You can cast on anytime. I foresee this being, for me, a year-long project. So we're going to go with that right now and do the Hap-along throughout the whole year of 2024, and we'll just see what next year brings. I'm happy to report that I have my center square done and picked up around the border, and you can't see much right now because it's on a 24-inch needle, but this is where we were the last time we met. So I finished my center square, and I'm on to doing starting the border. I have not changed the colors yet, so this will be interesting. So this is where mine's at, in a little pouch, and that's what I love about doing it on a 24-inch needle, is I could put my yarn in there as my little pouch, you know, and I'll have it right there. So I'm doing the Hansel hat. So I just wanted to give you a quick shout out, quick reminder of that. I posted on Instagram, and I should have posted to the Ravelry group. I didn't do that, but I will. I think maybe I already did. But anyway, if you want to come and show us your hap in any state of progress, we'd love to have you. If you just want to, you know, tune in and see what others are knitting, again, we'd love to have you do that as well. So that is tonight. Another reminder, Makers Meetup in Elgin, Hoffman Estates. End of July, we've got 60 plus possible people coming so far, and Kendra and I are totally excited about that. Kendra's got some fun things going on. She's getting ready to move to Indy. I am going to miss her so much, but she's just a few hours away, and we talk a lot, but you know, she's my sounding board and vice versa. So she's getting ready to head out, and another one of my onesie leaving me. So anyway, but Kendra will be there, and so we're really looking forward to everybody who said that they're coming, and possibles, and we hope that you will come. Let us know if you haven't already that you are, and only because we're trying to get a thought of the numbers, you know, and kind of fun to see that we have at least 60 that we know that's coming. So bring a friend, come just for the day. If you're in the area, that's fine too. The information as far as the hotel is still, the rooms are still available, and that is also on the PJKnits Ravelry group as well. So you can find that information there. I am right now doing so many sweaters. I'm enthralled with sweaters, and then we've talked about that before. But I'm also an EOK, an equal opportunity knitter, as I call it. I am starting a Kate Davies MCAL. That today is the first day we start reading the book. Rosie, again, she kind of tuned me into this, and so I'm like, that I had not heard about that. The MCAL sign-ups are closed, you know, which was kind of different for me, that you couldn't join up until whatever, but it was a paid-for mystery cal, but it was, you know, it wasn't bad at all. And we're starting today, and we're reading books throughout the summer by Marjorie Allingham, a new author to me, wrote books in the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, and so totally a new one. It is you know, to me, it's very reminiscent of the summer reading programs at the local library. My kids did do that when they were younger, and I know they're still doing it at my local library. And so I just thought this was super, super fun to be able to do that as part of the knitting. So it's called the Goff, Goff, Place Mystery Shawl. And there are 4 clues throughout. Starts May, goes through, and we're knitting on it through like September, through the whole entire summer. So this is, you know, this is like some fun stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I didn't have any yarn really to in the PYS that would go with that, because you needed 4 or 5 colors. I'll have to think. I have to look and see. Here we go. 5 colors, and she had given us, you know, specifics of what of tones that they should be, lights, darks, whatever. And so I went to my PYS, and I really didn't have anything. I had a purple that had some possibilities, but after showing my swatch on Saturday Night Zoom, they helped me make the decision that that's not going in it. So what I did is I went to my local yarn shop, and I got Cascade Heritage Yarns, came home and did a swatch according to what Kate sent us. And there's hers. And so that's when I wasn't super, I didn't know what to do, to leave the purple in or not. So originally these are my colors in my swatch. And after Saturday Night Zoom, we're going to leave it that way. There was a possibility that I would take out maybe that teal and do the purple, but the consensus is that the teal needs to be left in, and so the purple is going away, and I'm using Cascade Heritage, and here we go. So I'm excited about this. It's another, and I'm excited about it that it's a all summer long, so kind of takes the place of my summer of shawls that I normally do, and I'm excited to see where Kate Davies takes us with that. It's hashtag Goth Place Mal and hashtag Summer of Mystery. So they're mystery books, Marjorie Allingham. And so I'll have to get some of them from my local library. It's not something I have. The first one I had to download from on my Kindle app. So stay tuned. This is By the Bay Yarn Co. I have a couple of their bags. And I love it. This is my summer color, right? Summer of shawl, and I think I can fit my shawl all the way in that. So this for the hashtag PJKnits Summer of Shawl, it will be the Hap-along, and it will be the Kate Davies. So that's what I'm going to be knitting on as far as shawls, along with all of the sweaters that I'll be knitting on as well. And as I said, the arthritis in my thumbs is really acting up these last few days. I attribute it to a lot of my knitting, pushing and shoving that I've been doing, but I also attribute it to the rain, when the rain's coming. And so it just, I dislike that intensely. But anyway, that's kind of sort of my knitting. To finish up, I just want to say that I'm a book collector. I've been a knitting book collector for a lot of time, since the beginning of time, since my first knitting adventures, as it would be. So I collect knitting books, and I'd like to start sharing again from my library knitting books that are there. And it's a common funny amongst some of my knitting friends, that if you are in need of a knitting book, especially one that was published in past years, you might want to check with me first because I probably have it in my library. I think at one time I know when I was in high school, I helped out in the library. Not only in high school, but in junior high, on my free periods, I helped out in the library, and I loved it. So had I not thought about being a teacher or going the teacher route as an adult, I might have did library sciences as a library, because I love books, and I love hardcover books, whether they're paperback or they're hardcover. I like to read the actual book. So that's with this first book with Marjorie Allingham. I'm having to do it on my Kindle, and it's not a favor to me. I like to have that book in my hand to take with me. I don't have to worry about my battery dying. I have it. So my love of books has been forever. I loved reading as a child in grade school and high school, and I love reading. The love of reading has continued along with books. So I want to start sharing some books from my library just for fun. And the first one that I'm going to share with you is called Knitting in America. It's by Melanie D. Falick. It's from 1996. And this book I think I purchased after my very first knitting camp in 96. It is still available on Amazon. There are some secondhand shops that have it as well. This is definitely maybe, what do you call that? Definitely maybe. A coffee table book. And this was my introduction to a lot of new designers. from the 90s. Pam Allen, Beth Brown Rensel, Nikki Epstein, Nora Gaughan, Deborah Newton, Kristen Nicholas, Nancy Bush, Elizabeth Eupides that we learned about through Meg Swanson. And of course, Meg Swanson is featured in the book. The book itself is divided up by sections of the country. And there's a little ditty about each of the designers. And then all the way in the back is the patterns, some patterns by those designers. The only problem with it is that they're teeny tiny type and charts for the pattern. That's what I found. But I just find it sometimes it's nice to pull out these books of old and just look at them and have, it's a fun read, you know, to look at designers that, oh yes, I remember my first introduction to them, and probably whether they're still designing now or what they're designing right now. It's a fun read, and it's a nice, I enjoy looking at them and just seeing what the designs were of the 90s. So here's the book. It's a big book. Let's do it that way. The photography in here is luscious. And just some, you know, just some great pictures. Some great pictures of it that's been taken in here. They do, as I said, each one of them they're divided up by where they're at. This is Nora Gaughan, East. And here there's a picture of her and some conversation about her. And then a picture of the pattern that's in the book. This one, Catherine Alexander West. Again, look at this. A new design, not someone that I readily know about, from California. Oh, this is a cute one. This one is by Louise Parsons. Is this not adorable? Another new to me. Lisa Parks from the Midwest. You'll enjoy this one, right? Now that's a sweater, guys, right? Look at those buttons. Birmingham, Michigan. And there's Detroit, Michigan. There's about a little information, a little story about teaching little fingers to knit at the Waldorf School. So it's not all, it's all about knitting. The photography is wonderful. Lynn Vogel on the West. She's got a design in here as well. There's more than just the ones that I had told you about. Nancy Bush has some socks. From Salt Lake City, Utah. Big Sky Fiber. Bitterroot Valley, Montana has some, you talk about them in there. That yarn. So it's all about knitting in America. And Sarah Sweat from out west. Linda Romans, there's a lovely knit in here from her. Just a little bit of everything, and not all names that you would recognize. Priscilla Gibson Roberts. Wow. Spinner. I remember. Okay. Just some great stories to look at. Selma Miriam. A wealth of information, and just from my library. And these are the things that bring me joy, is to bring these books back out periodically. As I said, this is from the 90s. That's a while away, right? Elizabeth Eupides is in here as well. She was at one of the knitting camps that I went to. And that's where I first learned about her, from Meg in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So just some really super cool things. And I'm just going to do this flash so you can get a feel for what's in the back here. The print. So definitely you have to get your I was going to show my age there. Not really. I never called these, but all of a sudden spectacles came to my mind, right? But anyway, just some interest. You can see that you might need to take a picture of these patterns and these charts and definitely blow them up. So anyway, I hope you enjoy books as much as I do, knitting books. I'm trying not to buy as many of them now because be very thoughtful when I buy it. How many patterns in there am I really going to knit? However, there have been some in the last year that I'm like, I want it just because it's who it is and because a lot of times they bring me joy, as my PYS does. It brings me joy. That's a frequent conversation that we have on Zoom, and as long as it brings me joy and I can still pay the bills, I'm doing it. So I hope that you enjoy seeing some books from my library. I'd like to continue to do that. Well, I will continue to do that. Let's put it that way. So anyway, that is all that I have for you this week. Thank you so much for coming back, and for new viewers. I do so appreciate it. I hope that, again, you that are mothers or stand-in mothers or adopted mothers have the best of Mother's Day coming up this Sunday and get to do just what you want to. I hope to see some of you at Coming to Makers meetup again. We're looking forward to that, and tell your friends. Happy note, as I sign off here, the sun is out for a little bit, so I'm going to clean up my stuff here, and I'm going to head out to the porch and do a little knitting this afternoon and just enjoy the birds, the green grass, my flowers, and everything else that comes along. I hope that you are going to get a chance to do that as well. In the next couple of days, if you do the more box down below, all that I've talked about will be in the show notes, and give me a couple of days to get that in there. So until next time, have fun with your knitting, and I'll catch you on the purl side. Bye.